A very good morning to our viewers. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. In the next 30 minutes, we will get you all the latest news from national, international and sports front. But before we begin the bulletin, a quick look at the top headlines. Cabinet not to new pension plan, 55 lakh central government employees to benefit. Not to national steel policy, target to achieve 300 million ton capacity by 2030. Pakistan's denial of mutilation of soldiers' bodies has no credibility. Defence Minister says Pakistani military was involved in the barbaric act. Four-day meet of heads of Indian missions abroad. Relations with Pakistan, China and US to be discussed. 120 top Indian diplomats abroad to attend the meet. Political crisis in Venezuela deepens. One dead as protesters clash with police. Protest against President Maduro's move to rewrite constitution. And India beat Japan 4-3 in a round-robin match in Sultan Azlan Shah Hockey Tournament in Malaysia. Brighten chances of reaching finals. Defence Minister Arun Jaitley has rejected Pakistani claim that it did not mutilate the bodies of 2 Indian soldiers along the line of control. He said that the claim is without any credibility. Jaitley said that the barbaric act could not have been carried out without the involvement of the Pakistani military.
The fact that cover firings are provided to those who carry out this act, they are helped to escape on such a heavily guarded border where posts are within few meters of each other. This can't happen without the protection of the participation or the actual indulgence of the army itself.
India has also unequivocally told Pakistan to punish its soldiers and commanders who are responsible for the mutilation of the 2 martyred Indian soldiers. Pakistan was also told that the blood clearly points to its side of the border in the attack.
Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar on Wednesday summoned Pakistan's High Commissioner Abdul Basit to convey India's stern message to Pakistan. Basit was told that India has enough evidence to prove that it was indeed Pakistani soldiers who were involved in mutilating the bodies of soldiers of another country. India has asked Pakistan to punish the soldiers and commanders responsible for the act.
I can tell you that the Foreign Secretary mentioned to the High Commissioner of Pakistan that we hope that as the High Commissioner of Pakistan, he would convey to his government the sense of outrage that exists in India on this particular incident, on this barbaric act. And well, his response was that he of course denied that Pakistan Army was involved in any way in this incident, but assured that he will convey the contents of our démarche.
In addition to evidence about the movement of Pakistani BAT soldiers, India said that there are enough indications to show that the blood trail leads to Pakistan. The Pakistani High Commissioner, however, denied any involvement in his country in the incident, but promised to pass India's outrage to his government.
Blood samples of the Indian soldiers that have been collected and the trail of blood on the Rosa Nala line clearly shows that the killers returned across the line of control. So this answers the part about the evidence, what actionable evidence we have right now, the information that we have provided to Pakistan. We have shared this already with the Pakistan High Commissioner. The Indian side has sufficient evidence that this act was committed by personnel of the Pakistan Army who crossed the line of control in the Krishna Ghati sector. The government also demanded that Pakistan take immediate action against its soldiers and commanders responsible for this heinous act.
The External Affairs Ministry has expressed great dissatisfaction about Pakistan's behavior on the border. It has shared Pakistan's activities with many countries in the past, but there has been little impact on Pakistan's behavior. Meanwhile, India turned back around 40 students who had come to India under an NGO initiative. The External Affairs Ministry spokesperson said the present situation is such that any efforts to normalize situation either on the border or elsewhere is not possible. It stated that even people-to-people contacts are not possible in this situation. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Pakistan Maritime Security Agency apprehended 30 fishermen and seized 5 boats off the Gujarat coast. The captured fishermen were apprehended on Wednesday near the international maritime border in the Arabian Sea off the Gujarat coast. The detained fishermen and their boats have been taken to Karachi. Last month, on April 9th, Pakistan had captured 42 Indian fishermen with their 7 fishing boats. The boats belong to Porbandar, Okha and Mangrol. Since the beginning of this year, Pakistan Maritime Security Agency has detained around 400 fishermen and seized at least 70 fishing trawlers, all from Gujarat in the Arabian Sea. A 4-day meet of Indian missions abroad will begin today in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to address the sessions at the conferences that is being organized by the External Affairs Ministry. India's ties with its neighbors, including Pakistan, and its relationship with the Trump administration as well as China are expected to figure during the meet. The meeting will be attended by around 120 top Indian diplomats posted abroad. The meeting is happening in the backdrop of worsening relations with Pakistan after the beheading of the 2 soldiers along the line of control. India's ties with the resource-rich African continent as well as with the Gulf countries and the situation in the Middle East are also expected to be discussed during the meeting. On to some more developments. The Union Cabinet has approved modification in the method for revision of the pension of pre-2016 pensioners and family pensioners, which will provide additional benefit to the pensioners. The modification will happen over 55 lakh pre-2016 civil and defence pensioners and family pensioners. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley also said that the Cabinet has also approved retention of percentage-based disability pension for defence personnel in place of slab-based system recommended by 7th CPC. With this modification, the annual pension bill of the central government is likely to be 1.76 lakh crore rupees.
एक प्री 2016 के जो पेंशनर्स हैं उनको 2 ऑप्शंस दिए जा रहे हैं। एक 2.57 के मल्टीप्लायर के बेस पे ले लें पेंशन, या फिर एक वैकल्पिक, इसमें थोड़ा सा पे कमीशन से अलग गए हैं। पे कमीशन ने एक इंक्रीमेंटल मेथड सेकंड ऑप्शन दिया था, वो अनवर्केबल बन रहा था, तो एक पे कमीशन पे फिक्सेशन का एक फॉर्मूला पेंशन कमेटी ने दिया है। इन दोनों में से जो भी फेवरेबल होगा, दोनों ऑप्शंस रिटायरीज के पास अवेलेबल होंगी। कुछ प्रमुख चेंजेस हैं, विशेष रूप से 3 चेंजेस to the benefit of the services, पे कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशंस के संबंध में। उनमें से 3 ऐसे कंसर्न्स हैं जो सरकार ने स्वीकार किए हैं। 2 आज की कैबिनेट में थे और एक कैबिनेट के बाहर एग्जीक्यूटिव डिसीजन से स्वीकार किया है।
Also, the government will shortly come out with an ordinance to empower the Reserve Bank to effectively deal with the problem of mounting bad loans in the banking sector. PTI is quoting sources as saying a proposal to amend the Section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act through the ordinance route was approved by the Cabinet, headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The amendment will empower the RBI to issue directions to banks to recover non-performing assets from loan defaulters. Public sector banks are saddled with non-performing assets or bad loans to the tune staggering 6 lakh crore rupees. The amended law will also empower RBI to set up oversight panels that will shield bankers from later action by the probe agencies looking into the loan recasts. Among other decisions, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved a policy for providing preference to domestically manufactured iron and steel products on government procurement. This policy will seek to accomplish the Prime Minister's vision of Make in India. The policy is applicable on all government tenders where price bid is yet to be opened. The policy provides a minimum value addition of 15% in notified steel products which are covered under the preferential procurement. In case any manufacturer is aggrieved, the Grievance Redressal Committee set up under the Ministry of Steel shall dispose of the complaint in a time-bound manner of 4 weeks.
नेशनल स्टील पॉलिसी 2017 आज मंत्रिपरिषद ने अप्रूव की है। इसका उद्देश्य ये है कि एक विश्व में एक ग्लोबली कंपेटिटिव स्टील इंडस्ट्री हमारी बने। 2030 तक स्टील का पर कैपिटा कंजम्पशन 160 किलोग्राम हो।
Meanwhile, Congress President Sonia Gandhi held talks with National Conference Working President Omar Abdullah in Delhi over forging opposition unity for a joint presidential candidate. The Congress President will also be holding talks with West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, BSP Supremo Mayawati and DMK leader MK Stalin soon. The meetings are expected to be held over a week or 10 days. She has already held talks with Nitish Kumar, Sharad Yadav, Sharad Pawar and left leader Sitaram Yechuri and D. Raja. She has separately held telephonic conversation with Mulayam Singh Yadav and Lalu Prasad. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also held consultations with Sharad Pawar, Yechuri and Akhilesh Yadav. The sudden flurry of activity by the opposition to forge a strong alliance in the presidential election comes after a string of victories for BJP in the state assembly polls and municipal elections. Some feel the united face of the opposition for the presidential poll may well turn out to be a precursor to an anti-NDA front ahead of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. The presidential election has to be held before July 24th, when incumbent Pranab Mukherjee's term ends. The Aam Aadmi Party resolved its party crisis by suspending its Okhla MLA who spoke against the senior party leader Kumar Vishwas on Wednesday. Vishwas had threatened to quit the party after Amanatullah Khan accused him of anti-party activities.
The Aam Aadmi Party on Wednesday suspended Okhla MLA Amanatullah Khan, possibly averting a split in the party. Khan had accused senior party leader Kumar Vishwas of being an RSS BJP agent and plotting a coup against the party. The decision came at the party's Political Affairs Committee meeting, which also appointed Kumar Vishwas the party in charge for Rajasthan. The suspension is seen as a move to placate Kumar Vishwas, who had threatened to quit AAP over the allegations made by Khan.
अभी निर्णय लिया गया है कि अमानतुल्लाह खान को पार्टी की मेंबरशिप से सस्पेंड किया जा रहा है और उनके इस एक्शन, उनकी जो बयानबाजी थी उसको लेके एक कमेटी बनाई गई है कि उनको क्या कहना है, क्या उसके फैक्ट्स हैं, क्या वो कहना चाहते हैं, उस सब को लेके पार्टी की कमेटी बनाई गई।
AAP also set up a 3-member disciplinary committee to look into the comments made by Khan against Kumar Vishwas. Khan, who had resigned from the party's PAC earlier this week, has refused to comment on the suspension.
2.5 साल पुराना आया हुआ दूसरी पार्टी से कार्यकर्ता हूं, मैं अपनी क्या बात रखूंगा।
Kumar Vishwas, however, said he was open for constructive dialogue but won't shy away from speaking if the party needs course correction.
लेकिन कुछ विचार विमर्श पार्टी में होने चाहिए थे, जो हो रहे हैं। अब उनकी प्रक्रिया प्रारंभ हुई है, उसके लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं और उस हर कार्यकर्ता को, उस हर व्यक्ति को जिसने इस कठिन समय में मेरे साथ खड़े होने के लिए स्वयं को आगे लाए, उन सबको आभार देता हूं।
Opposition parties, meanwhile, accuse Aam Aadmi Party of deflecting from its agenda.
पर एक बहुत अफसोस की बात यह है कि इतने गंभीर इल्जामात के बाद, जिसमें क्या कुछ नहीं कहा गया है एक दूसरे को, उसके बाद इस तरह का क्लाइम डाउन कर लेना, साथ आ जाना एक पद को देने के बाद, मुझे सच में बहुत अफसोस के साथ ये कहना पड़ रहा है कि कहीं पे भी सिद्धांतों की और उसूलों की जगह नहीं रह गई है इस पार्टी में।
This question is what has happened to the promises or to the issues on basis of which Aam Aadmi Party was formed? What has happened to this Jan Lokpal? What has happened to internal democracy?
The latest crisis in the Aam Aadmi Party comes only days after some leaders resigned post the MCD poll debacle. With the BJP beating strong anti-incumbency and winning the polls for the third time in a row, there is increased speculation that AAP is losing ground fast, and the latest crisis is only going to complicate matters further. Anu Devan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, we'll slip into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
It was an EVM leher, not Modi leher.
I think insult to the people of the country.
Why does the secular lobby say that the nationalism which is projected by BJP is a pseudo-nationalism?
We, after so many years, don't need any certificate from any lobby.
BJP is becoming bigger than RSS, or RSS is overshadowing BJP.
I don't think so that BJP can ever become bigger than RSS.
Watch To The Point with Union Minister Dr. Harshvardhan only on Rajya Sabha television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. One policeman has been killed and 11 others were injured after a mine-protected vehicle of C-60 commandos came under a landmine attack in Gadchiroli in Maharashtra. Officials said that the incident took place in the evening on Wednesday near Brahmagarh in the district when a patrol party of C-60 commandos was crossing the area. The team of security force personnel had been conducting operations in the area. Earlier in the day, a CRPF Jawan and 2 Maharashtra police personnel were injured in an exchange of fire with the Naxals. Jailed AIADMK Sasikala has moved the Supreme Court seeking re-examination of its verdict, holding her guilty and sentencing her to 4-year imprisonment in a graft case. The review petition has been filed by Sasikala and 2 others. It has challenged the setting aside of Karnataka High Court verdict, acquitting her and restoring the trial court verdict in toto. Former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, late J. Jayalalitha, was also an accused in the case. The trial court in Bengaluru had convicted Sasikala along with Jayalalitha and 2 others in the case for amassing assets disproportionate to their income. And a look at what else is making news around the country nationwide. Election to the 25-member Mara Autonomous District Council in Mizoram is being held today. The main contest is expected to be between the ruling Congress and the opposition alliance of Mizo National Front and Mara Democratic Front. The last day of filing nominations was April 19th, while the counting would be held on May 8th. Alfred High School, a premium institute of Rajkot where Mahatma Gandhi studied, has been closed down. All the 150 students have been given their leaving certificates. The move comes after the notification from the Gujarat government in 2016 that a museum on Mahatma Gandhi was to be created there and that the students be shifted to Karan Singh Ji High School. With a span of 2 hours, 2 banks were robbed by militants in Pulwama district of Kashmir on Wednesday. 4 armed militants entered the Wahib Bagh branch at around 1:50 p.m. and looted around 3 to 4 lakh rupees at gunpoint before fleeing. Meanwhile, at around 3:20 p.m., the militants struck at the Nehama branch of the Jammu and Kashmir Bank in the same district. And on to some international news. The Home Secretaries of India and the UK will be meeting in New Delhi today. India will press for the early extradition of fugitive businessman Vijay Mallya from the United Kingdom during the meeting. Union Home Secretary Rajiv Maharishi will raise the issue when he meets the UK counterpart Patsy Wilkinson, the second permanent secretary in the British Home Office. The Cooperation between India and the UK, beside a host of other issues, will figure in the meeting. Issues related to mutual legal assistance treaty, strengthening of the intelligence sharing mechanism, and visa-related issues will also be deliberated upon. And there is no end to the political crisis in Venezuela. One person died as protesters clashed with the police on Wednesday. At a march by protesters towards parliament in the capital Caracas, masked youths hurled rocks and fire bombs at the police. The security personnel responded by using rubber bullets and water cannons. The teen-aged protester died in the resulting clashes. The demonstrators have been carrying out anti-government protests for a month now, demanding President Maduro to step down. They are especially angry over Maduro's move to create a new constituent body to rewrite the constitution. More than 30 people have been killed and hundreds others are injured or arrested since protesters took to the streets in early April. Ever since President Maduro came to power in 2013, Venezuelan economy is in a bad shape. There have been shortages of food, baby milk, medicine and other basic amenities.
158 de la Federación y 18 de la Revolución Bolivariana. Firmo como vamos a elegir libremente a través del voto universal, directo y secreto una poderosa Asamblea Nacional Constitucional.
Los venezolanos no vamos a caer en la trampa, no nos vamos a dejar, desconocemos esta constituyente comunal, el pueblo está en la calle.
And Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron, the two contenders for the French presidency on Wednesday, traded insults in a crucial TV debate ahead of the polls on Sunday. The 2.5 hours debate was heated for most of the time. The two leaders are the main contenders for the presidential election. Centrist Emmanuel Macron said his rival Marine Le Pen's strategy is to lie, while she called him a shameless darling of the system. The two leaders locked horns on a number of issues, including economy and employment, terrorism, EU and currency and education. Centrist Macron and Le Pen of the far-right Front National go head-to-head before Sunday's decisive second-round vote to choose France's next president. Macron is well ahead of the polls, although his lead has been reduced. For the first time, neither candidate is from a mainstream French party.
De la précarité, de la brutalité sociale, de la guerre de tous contre tous, du saccage économique, notamment de nos grands groupes, du dépeçage de la France par les grands intérêts économiques, du communautarisme.
La division, la guerre civile que vous portez dans le pays. Lutter contre les terroristes, ça n'est en aucun cas céder à leur piège. Le piège de la guerre civile, celui qu'ils nous tendent, celui que vous portez en divisant les Français, en insultant les Françaises et les Français à cause.
And a look at what else is making news from around the world in World Wrap. At least 21 coal miners have died attempting to rescue trapped workmates in northern Iran after a blast caused a tunnel to partially collapse. The blast occurred at the Yemestan Yurt mine that also injured 69 others. Close to 32 trapped miners are still missing. The US Federal Reserve on Wednesday decided not to raise its key interest rate as central bank officials expressed concern with the pace of economic growth. The Federal Open Market Committee unanimously agreed to keep its benchmark rate target at 0.75% to 1%. FBI has defended its handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. On Wednesday, FBI Chief James Comey justified his decision to alert Congress about the probe into Clinton's emails just days before the US general elections, saying concealing the developments would have been catastrophic. UK Prime Minister Theresa May has accused European politicians and officials of issuing threats to influence the upcoming general elections in her country. May called upon Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace and marked the dissolution of the 650-member House of Commons or the lower house. On to some news from sports. Top seed Vikas Krishan in 75 kilograms category and fourth seed Shiva in 60 kilograms category were among the 4 Indian boxers who qualified for the World Championships on Wednesday and assured themselves of medals by advancing to the Asian Championship semi-finals. While it was a third successive medal assured at the event for Shiva Thapa, Vikas Krishnan secured a second successive for himself. Shiva had won a gold at 2013 edition and followed it up with a bronze in 2015. Also, Sumit Sangwan and Amit Pangal were the other 2 Indian boxers to book the medals as well at the World Championship. Asian Championship is a qualifier for the upcoming World Championships in the Hamburg, Germany. Top seed in each of the 10 weight categories in this tournament will make the cut for the big event. And after losing a match against Australia, India on Wednesday redeemed it themselves with a 4-3 victory over Japan, hoping to enter the finals of the Sultan Azlan Shah hockey tournament. It was striker Mandeep Singh's brilliant hat-trick in a round-robin tie that gave India a score of 4-3, having squandered the early lead provided by the penalty corner conversion from Rupinder Pal Singh. India were trailing when Mandeep got into his goal-scoring act in the second half. It needed 2 goals from Mandeep in the last 10 minutes to help India avoid a stunning loss. Mandeep's 3 goals keeps India's challenge alive in the Six Nation tournament, taking them to 7 points from the 4 matches. The win gave India a chance of making the second successive final in the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup after having finished runners-up behind Australia last year. And President Pranab Mukherjee on Wednesday presented the 64th National Film Awards to the artists of the Indian film fraternity for their outstanding contribution to cinema. Among the most eminent recognition was the Dada Saheb Phalke Award to director K. Vishwanath for the year 2016. It is the highest recognition in Indian cinema, which consists of a Golden Lotus, a citation, cash prize of 10 lakh rupees and a shawl. Akshay Kumar was conferred Best Actor Award for his role in the movie Rustam. Malayalam actress Surbhi was given Best Actress for her role in Minna Min Ungu. The Best Hindi Film Award was conferred to Sonam Kapoor starrer Neerja. Marathi movie Kasav, directed by Sumitra Bhave and Sunil, received the Best Feature Film Award. Hindi film Dhanak, directed by Nagesh Kukunur, got the Best Children Film Award. Telugu movie Satha Manam Bhavati was conferred the Best Popular Film, providing wholesome entertainment. The Best Film on Social Issues was awarded to Pink. Kashmiri actress Zaira Wasim was given the Best Supporting Actress Award for her role in Dangal. Ajay Devgan's Shivai won the Special Effects Award. Actor Mohanlal received the Special Jewelry Award. The Nargis Dutt Award went to Dhikchau Banath Palaks. The Indira Gandhi Award was given to Alifa. Among various dignitaries present on the occasion were Union Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu and Minister of State Rajyavardhan Rathore.
Indian film industries are full of diversities, but yet it conveys one message. That message is of universal brotherhood, tolerance, cooperation, existence, and essentially the message which the successful filmmakers have conveyed, that we may be argumentative.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. See you again tomorrow, same time. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.